Billing it. However long it takes, man, I'll still be here, you know what I'm saying? Yo, new year, new money, but it's the same old me. Need the yard that don't come cheap before I get 8 gold teeth. They wanna play with sticks and stones, I'm calling them Jamie T. Up chasing coins like Sonic, could trust me, they don't sleep. Play my songs out of whip, she said keep that shit on repeat. Billing it, however long it takes, man, I'll still be here, you know what I'm saying? Yo, new year, new money, but it's the same old me. Need the yard that don't come cheap before I get 8 gold teeth. They wanna play with sticks and stones, I'm calling them Jamie T. Up chasing coins like Sonic, could trust me, they don't sleep. Play my songs out of whip, she said keep that shit on repeat. Billing it, however long it takes, man, I'll still be here, you know what I'm saying? Yo, new year, new money, but it's the same old me. Need the yard that don't come cheap before I get 8 gold teeth. They wanna play with sticks and stones.
Oh, okay. I mean, should I be sharing screen or what? What do you want me to do?
Em lấy cái hấp cho.
Được, nhưng mà bên
Bên tay tiền học do chưa?
bên tay tân học cho rồi. chưa?
Can you guys hear me? Just wait until you guys give me a confirmation. Yeah. I am sharing right now. Can you guys see? Okay, nice. I think you guys can hear me now. Let me just see if this is the right thing. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me. All right. But yeah, hey, I'm Tim, building Titan Exchange, a MetaDex aggregator on Solana. Too bad I couldn't make it to Startup Village today. I'm flooded right now at my hotel. I can't even leave. So hopefully I'll be able to make it in tomorrow to see some of the guys there. But yeah, we're building Titan. We've been live for around 6 to 7 months now. Most of that in private beta, and we just launched publicly around 2 weeks ago. So our team's like pretty laser focused on the Solana spot trading market, and I think it's gone kind of underappreciated to most people, the kind of innovations that have been happening over the past 6 to 12 months that have really pushed pricing on chain to be like pretty crazy, pretty comparable to some of like the most liquid venues like Binance, etc. And it's all happening on chain on Solana. So wanted to spend a little bit of time today to do a presentation on some of those like market structure changes that have happened over the past year, and I'll spend a little bit of time like shilling Titan as well. Call now. Yeah, so wait, you guys can hear me? I just got a message that someone said that this is not working. All right, I'm just going to continue assuming that everybody can hear me. Okay, cool. So yeah, just wanted to start things off with a pretty interesting tweet around 2 months ago from Bennett Temporal, and he said, "It's gone greatly underappreciated that the average retail trader will literally get a much better price for Sol USD on Solana than on SX. Study DeFi." And this is like absolutely true today. Like if you're a retail trader and you're trading essentially like up to $1 million notional for something like Sol USDC, you're likely to get a comparable fill, or sometimes even better than Binance. And yeah, there's like a number of reasons for that. A lot of these like innovations have happened over the past like 6 to 12 months on Solana. And I think the most important of those innovations is the rise of what we call prop AMMs that are quoting pretty aggressively on chain right now. And it really marks this pretty big paradigm shift from traditionally on chain. It's been mostly like passive liquidity provisioning. So you can think of like your V2 and your V3 pools. And then with these like prop AMMs, we're moving to a much more active liquidity provisioning paradigm. And yeah, I mean, these prop AMMs are essentially sophisticated market makers that are now on chain, and they're kind of like black box, so you don't really know how they're pricing things, but they're able to put their pricing curves actually on chain and quote extremely tight spreads on Solana. And I think another interesting thing about these prop AMMs is the fact that they actually don't have front ends. So as a trader, I can't actually interact with these prop AMMs. And as a liquidity provider, I'm not able to LP into them. Hence the name prop AMM, coming from like proprietary capital. So these sophisticated market makers are just using their own prop capital to fund these things and essentially make money off retail flow. And if you think of like how like market making, just like the business is in general, it's all about maximizing your exposure to retail non-toxic flow. And it's no surprise that this is happening on Solana. I think number one, structurally, like as a high throughput, low cost chain, you're able to do these like super cheap and fast like Oracle updates to maintain these like pricing curves. And then the second point is just like the amount of retail volume that's actually on chain on Solana. I'm sure like we're all aware of it. Like 2024, the run up with meme coins was just like absolutely crazy. Kind of peaked with the Trump launch earlier this year in January. But there's still like a lot of genuine like retail activity on chain, and like as a market making firm, like I'm just trying to capture wherever there's like retail volume, I'll basically go and try to like service that flow. So it makes sense that this is happening on Solana. And then the other really important and unique thing about Solana market structure is the fact that aggregators play such a pivotal role. And yeah, it's different from some of the other chains in that most of like the retail volume actually flows through the aggregators in some way. And that's important for the prop AMMs because they actually don't have front ends. A lot of them don't even maintain any Twitter accounts or really any presence. They literally all they have to do is set up these prop AMMs, set up these like pricing curves on chain, and then connect with an aggregator like Jupiter or Titan, and they're able to get access to all this really great retail flow, all this distribution, just like that. So that's another unique thing about Solana that's kind of lent itself to the rise of these prop AMMs. And then another thing that's happened over the past, I would say, 6 to 12 months is just a lot more fierce competition amongst aggregators in general. So, I think Jupiter has maintained this pretty strong monopoly for the past 2 years on Solana. And over the past 6 months, there's actually been a few more aggregators that are popping up, like ourselves. Like we've built an aggregator, we call it Titan Argos. There's also DFlow, OKX that have built like very competent routers. And this increased competition means that everybody has, number one, improved their routing algorithms. So you'll see like even Jupiter's routing algorithm has improved a lot since 6 months ago. Ours as well, we're continuously improving our algorithm, adding more liquidity sources, which ultimately just gives better prices to the end user. And then because there's more aggregators and routers now in Solana, that has also like opened up this opportunity for meta aggregation. So 6 months ago, like Titan, we were the first to launch a meta aggregator on Solana, which means that we actually now aggregate all the aggregators. So we built our own aggregator, and we also aggregate all the aggregators like Jupiter, DFlow, OKX. And then what that means is like as a user and you come to Titan, you actually get routed to whichever aggregator or router is giving you the best price. So all these things are really just, at the end of the day, just improving execution, improving pricing on chain, and really moving towards that kind of vision of internet capital markets where, Solana can be the place where you can execute, basically any spot trading like confidently, and you'll get like a great fill regardless. And then another interesting thing is that these prop AMMs have really taken a lot of market share away from the traditional AMMs. So I mean, everybody's aware of like Radium, Orca, Meteora, PubSwap are some of the newer ones. They've certainly taken a lot of market share away from these traditional AMMs, but what you're actually seeing now is like increased specialization for these liquidity sources. So I think the prop AMMs are just completely dominant at providing liquidity for some of like the major pairs. So Sol USDC is like mostly prop AMMs now. That's like the biggest pair on Solana. Same with USDC, USDT. And now you're seeing some of the prop AMMs are actually quoting for some longer tail meme stuff like Pengu, Bonk. They're quoting for like Pump as well. But other than that, there's like a lot of long tail assets that I think the prop AMMs would never touch. The reason for that is they're market making firms. They're using their own capital to market make for these pairs, and there's significant like inventory risk if you're taking on some of these like really long tail like volatile assets. So if you're not able to like hedge those on like other venues, they're just not going to provide liquidity for them. So yeah, what you're seeing now is long tail assets are basically going to be on these AMMs like Raydium, Meteora, PumpSwap, and Orca, and then the major pairs will just be serviced by the prop AMMs. And I think that's kind of the equilibrium where like things are going right now. Yeah, so a couple of interesting graphics here that just really drive home that point of the change in like Solana market structure that I think, yeah, most retail traders or just generally like people are probably not going to realize that this is really happening. So these are two dashboards from Blockworks. On the left, you have just Solana DEX volume, the market share for each of like the major AMMs. Notably, you can see already that a lot of like the traditional AMMs have lost a lot of market share over the past year or 6 months. And then there's actually been a couple of new prop AMM entrants, like notably Humidify, which is actually like the #1 DEX by volume on Solana right now. Humidify is a super crack team. They're operating this prop AMM super efficiently. They're actually dominating Sol USDC volumes right now. So like 50% of all Sol USDC volumes are going through Humidify right now. On the right, you have basically the same graphic, but segmented into like just like a more digestible view. So red is the prop AMMs, and then purple is like the traditional AMMs. And then you'll see like over the past year, the prop AMMs have just been gaining market share basically every month. Until September actually was the first month that prop AMM volume exceeded traditional AMM volume. And maybe that trend will continue to push even further. Initially in October, when all this stuff first started, there were only 2 to 3 prop AMMs that were actively quoting on chain. Now there's over 10. So prop AMM competition has actually increased a lot as well. And that only means that the spreads that the prop AMMs are quoting are even tighter now. So yeah, all in the name of just providing better prices on chain. That's just internet capital markets, I guess. And then, yeah, I also wanted to kind of talk briefly about just aggregation and like the aggregator ecosystem briefly. This is just like a broad simplification of things. There's obviously like a lot of other like front ends that people interact with to like trade on Solana, but broadly speaking, you have this like pyramid structure where at the bottom you have the liquidity layer. So that's where the AMMs reside. That's where like the prop AMMs reside. And this isn't like 2021 or like DeFi summer where users actually trade directly on the AMMs anymore. Liquidity is like way more fragmented now. There's like so many venues. Each venue, each AMM has thousands of markets. So trading on like one of those markets is like super inefficient. What you want to do is obviously trade through an aggregator, and then an aggregator is like one step up on the pyramid. Right now on Solana, everybody knows Jupiter. We also have built an aggregator we call it Titan Argos. There's also DFlow and OKX. So what the aggregators do is they consolidate all that liquidity on the bottom, on the base layer, and then we basically route users through the optimal path through all these thousands of liquidity venues to give you like a better execution price. That's just, now on Solana, basically everybody trades through aggregators. And then a step above that, because now there's more aggregators on Solana, it's not just Jupiter. We have meta aggregators, which is like at the top of the pyramid, where the meta aggregators actually aggregate all the aggregators. So when you trade through Titan, you get routed through whichever aggregator is giving you the best price. And then, yeah, like I said, there's like a lot of other ways that people trade on chain, like retail actually trades on chain. There's, directly within wallets, like a lot of people trade like natively on Phantom Wallet, for example, or Solflare or Backpack. There's also through, the trading bots like Axiom, Photon, etc. But ultimately, a lot of that flow is powered by aggregator APIs. So at the end of the day, like most of the retail volume is flowing through the aggregators, and that's just how it is on Solana. And then, yeah, what does an aggregator actually do? This is pretty much like a simple graphic that breaks down a trade from USDC to Sol. And then we, as an aggregator, we split that into multiple hops. We call them hops. So here you have, one hop going from Orca, going through the Orca USDC pool, another hop going through the Raydium USDC Sol pool, and then another hop, which is Stable first, USDC, USDT, and then Lifinity, USDT to Solana. And then at the end, user will get, better execution. They'll get more Sol for whatever USDC that they've sold. And that's basically like what an aggregator or a router is doing. It's consolidating all that liquidity and then finding you that like optimal route to get you more for like more USDC or more Solana in this case for the USDC that you sold. So going back to like Titan. We've built Titan is a meta aggregator, but we've also built our own proprietary aggregator. We call it Titan Argos. We've only been live. We're fairly new. Like we started building this like a year ago, and then in March we launched our private beta. We did around 1.5 billion, 1.6 billion in 6 months during the private beta, and then 2 weeks ago we went public. We announced like our seed round raise. Have been getting like a lot of traction over the past 2 weeks. We've actually done more volume over the past 2 weeks than the past 6-7 months of private beta, which is like pretty crazy. Processed over 3 billion in spot volume. That number I think will accelerate like pretty dramatically over the coming like weeks and months. Users using Titan have outperformance. So we average like 8 bips outperformance. That's just like a metric that we measure on Titan as a meta aggregator. We just show you like the delta between like the top router and like the second best router, and that's what we call outperformance. So it's 8 bips, super low single digit slippage as well. So we built out that product. We're also working on, we are also rolling out the Titan Prime API right now. So if there's anybody that's listening to this and building trading or trading adjacent products, like, let me know. We're pushing out the API right now and like targeting like app integration partners for that. Titan advantages. Yeah, like why do people actually like Titan? So number one is our win rate. So like I said, we've built our own aggregator. We call it Titan Argos. It wins 75% of the time, which means that 75% of the time, like your trade will get routed through Titan Argos just because we're, a better routing algorithm essentially. That win rate has actually increased since we launched publicly. So this is like 75% lifetime. Actually, over the past 2 weeks, we're winning around 82 to 85% of the time because we made some like pretty big algorithm improvements for the public launch. So I would say number one, that's definitely like a key advantage that people really like about Titan. And then number two is we actually update the quotes super, super fast on Titan. And, the reason for that is if you think about trading on chain, like the quote, like what you see is not necessarily what you get. And one of the big reasons for that is like stale quotes. A lot of times when you're trading on other platforms, a quote will be held for up to 5 seconds, right? And there's time there's that 5 seconds time and then clicking swap and then clicking approve and actually executing that swap on chain. Your actual execution or your fill can be pretty different from the quote you see. So this is all in an effort to just give users like the freshest quotes. So we actually update the quotes super fast. So if you go on the actual app and you're trading, you'll actually see like these like live streaming quotes that are just populating super quickly. And I think people really like that feature because you're getting less slippage essentially at the end of the day. And then I would say the third thing that we do is this advanced simulation, where we actually simulate all the quotes from all the routers. You can see like Titan, Jupiter, OKX, DFlow. We simulate all those quotes on the same block and actually do a proper like apples to apples comparison of quotes. So I think, yeah, those are the three things I think that people really, really like about Titan. At the end of the day, for us, it's all about helping users trade with even more edge on Solana. So yeah, it's all about just providing the best execution for really all traders on Solana. And yeah, I think that like basically wraps up most of the stuff I wanted to talk about. We have our API again, rolling out the API. So if anybody wants to integrate that, like you can send me a DM. I'll try to be at Startup Village tomorrow after the rain clears up as well. So if anybody wants to talk about Solana trading or Titan or whatever it is, like happy to chat. Hey. Oh, just questions too. Like, take questions.
Yeah, I think we will have a few people with questions here. Anyone have questions for Titan? Okay, David.
I can hear you.
A little bit, yeah.
Hi, team.
Yes. Hey.
Okay. Okay, I just have a question. Like, what's the difference between Titan and Jupiter? Like, what makes you different between?
Yeah. So I think chiefly it's our routing algorithm is different. So every aggregator has its own routing algorithm, its own way of solving this kind of problem of, you know, consolidating all these liquidity sources and then routing you through like the optimal path. So number one, I think we've built the best routing algorithm on Solana. We actually do things very differently from other routers. We're actually able to split hops to machine level precision. So we can actually split trades into like USDC, for example, has 6 decimal places. We can actually split you through that to like 6 decimal places. That's like number one, I would say. And then number two is our algorithm is actually able to scan more liquidity sources. So the more liquidity sources you can scan, basically, the more opportunities for arbitrage or whatever that will just give users better prices, right? So when you're actually trading on Titan, you'll see that we route through a lot of these like unique liquidity sources that others don't have. And then I would say the third thing we do is we also do these pretty unique integrations. So not just like standard AMM integrations, we actually have like mint redeem stuff. So we've integrated, for example, Carrot as a liquidity source on Titan, which is literally just a mint redeem. Yeah, it's all just to provide users better prices, right? And then I think on top of that, also like Titan is 0 fees. So if you're trading on Jupiter front end right now, they do charge some fees through like Jupiter Ultra. So Titan is an alternative that is offering better pricing and 0 fees. And then we also do this like very fair, I think, meta aggregation. So when you actually trade on Titan, you can actually transparently compare the quotes from different routers. So yeah, I mean, the like right now when I'm sharing the screen, you can see on the top right, we're actually like comparing those quotes live for the user and simulating them all in the same block. So you can basically get the best look at what each of the routers are actually going to give you on chain.
Thank you. And my second question is, okay. And my second question is, because I'm using Titan like trading every day to collect points, so I really want to know what kind of, I mean, what are you looking for now at Titan? Like, are you looking for more trading, or are you looking for more project using your API or something like that?
I won't comment too much on like points or that stuff yet, but really the focus for us is like we want to kind of be like the smartest way to swap on Solana. Like we want to be powering a lot of just like Solana spot trading use cases. Yeah, I mean, so the focus is definitely, I think, on the API right now. So we're pushing pretty aggressively. It's a lot of like BD work, a lot of distribution work to get the API out to as many partners as we can. And then, yeah, there's certainly still a focus on our front end, which I think a lot of people like. We're also going to be releasing like limit orders. There will be also DCA as well. We have like a pretty unique way of doing limit orders that I think people will like. And then, yeah, after that, I think just giving users more tools so they can trade like a pro on Solana. Yeah, a lot of things we have planned. Thank you for using Titan, by the way.
Yeah. I have no question.
I see that a lot of people using building this type of model, and one of the selling point you have right now is you have 0 fee. So how do you make money?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we kind of look at aggregation as almost like a race to zero. Like, really, the kind of inspiration or like vision behind Titan was looking at like U.S. equities markets, where if you look at like in 2013, prior to 2013, most of like the brokers in the U.S. were charging commissions on trades, and then after Robinhood came out, they kind of drove like those commissions to zero, primarily because of like payment for order flow, which you know, there's like arguments between whether that's bad or good, but ultimately, yeah, zero commissions are basically now zero in the U.S. for brokers that are trading. Yeah, and we think the same thing is going to happen on Solana. So we're looking at other ways to monetize. We treat the main spot product as kind of like a funnel for us to also offer like different products for users. So stuff like limit orders and DCA, we would charge some fees on those. You know, also offering like other products on top of that, and then you know, really try to get creative to figure out ways to monetize our flow, just like internally. So yeah, that's like some of the stuff that we're thinking of. We really treat like the spot product as like a funnel though, to kind of acquire users and then get more people to use the platform, and then planning to offer like other products like horizontally to them after that.
Any questions from the audience?
Yeah, so thank you for optimizing the aggregation landscape more. The question I have is more on the Solana side of things, because I know you split the routes more efficiently, but I think at some point you'll hit a theoretical limit in terms of how Solana works basically, and how much routing you can do, even like how many dexes you can pass the route to, right? Depending on how many accounts you're using. So what do you think like Solana as a chain or as an infrastructure could do better? And is there any improvements that you see in Alpenglow or something, or maybe even using Double0 as well, where you can unlock a higher efficiency in terms of either executing trades or aggregation as well?
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, we do talk about this a lot, and when we were doing our raise as well, that was like one of the main things that I think VCs were asking us as well. I mean, aggregation, like I do think that we do have a lead in terms of like our routing algorithm right now, but it is ultimately like kind of a race to zero, like what you're saying. Like there is like a limit, like to how good I guess you can like route. I think there's like certain things that we're looking at, like BAM, that will improve things meaningfully, but yeah, ultimately it is kind of like a race to zero. We do think we have a lead right now that we want to use to try to gain market share. And then there's like so many nuances as well, like with building an aggregator that like people don't realize. I think it's like not as easy to enter the game because there's just so many liquidity sources. Even now, if you're like trying to go on Solana and build like an aggregator from scratch, like I would just say good luck. Like just like the amount of liquidity sources that you have to integrate. Like we've been building for like a year, and I think our team moves really fast too. Like compared to just like feedback from like integration partners, people say, "Wow, you guys integrate like super fast," and we're still working through like a backlog of like integrations. So yeah, ultimately, yeah, I do think there's like a limit to how good aggregation gets, and then if we can reach that limit, it's great. I mean, that just means that we're basically at the theoretical limit of like routing. This is like as good as it gets for providing best prices for users on chain, which is like in line with the vision of like Solana anyways, right? We want to be like on chain NASDAQ. Like this has to get really, really good, right? For us to get there. And yeah, these innovations on routing, these innovations on the liquidity side are just like getting us closer to that like vision.
So once you reach the on-chain limits, do you think the market is moving more towards private AMMs or more RFQ solutions in a way, at least for long, top-end assets,
Yeah.
not long-tail?
Well, RFQ is also, I forgot to mention that actually. RFQ is a thing now on Solana too. Like it has also been one of the reasons why pricing has improved. So one of the things that we do at Titan as well is we also, as a meta aggregator, we don't just aggregate the other routers like Jupiter, Titan, DFlow, OKX. We also aggregate RFQ providers like Pyth Express Relay and Hashflow. So I would say that RFQ is a meaningful part of like on chain. The problem with RFQ though is that the quotes are pretty stale. All of these RFQ providers are basically like holding these quotes for like X seconds, and like either you're gonna get picked off as a if you're providing those quotes, or I guess your quote's just stale. So I guess you could provide like better prices. So it's like quite tricky with RFQ, especially on a chain that's as fast as Solana. But I would say it is meaningful, but I think the prop AMMs are really where a lot of like the flow is going to go towards. Like it's just like a much more efficient model. It just like aligns with how fast like Solana is too. Like these prop AMMs are like pushing price updates like super fast on chain, super cheap. Like RFQ providers are like, I know RFQ is like a big thing on mainnet, Ethereum, just because it's a lot slower. So yeah, you can hold those quotes for longer. But I think while RFQ has a place on Solana, it's never going to be like as big as it is on Ethereum.
I have more questions, but I'll ask you tomorrow once you're at the conference.
Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow. We can chat more.
Any other questions from the audience? Let me check if anyone asking anything from Twitter. I think the magic of the startup village is be here, right? Be in real life. So we are all expecting you here tomorrow to meet all of us. So thank you very much for this session. Thank you, team.
Yeah, 100%. I'll definitely make it there tomorrow. Thank you, guys.
Okay, we end this session now, and in I think in 30 minutes we will come back with in 15 minutes we will come back with Kaizen. Thank you, team, and thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Cái này nó CD làm ăn